We introductions, sir. Thank you, Chuck. Introductions.
Whoa, we cannot hear you.
Introductions, and what we'll do is first chair will answer first, then we'll shift down, and when we answer the questions, of course. Then we'll shift down, rotating who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third, and what's in left field. Okay, starting here and going down like that. All right, let's start with our opening quick introductions.
Quick introduction. My name.
I'm sorry.
Are we on? Okay. My name is Tammy Jo Brown, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I have been in Santa Rosa County for 22 years, and I've been a Republican for 4 years.
Bob Cole, I'm a Navy veteran, came here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, married a local girl, raised our family, been here 40, and married to Sheila 46 years, lived in East Milton all that time, and I've been a Republican all my life.
Wallis, Mahute. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I'm originally a Yankee, but I came south as quick as I could. We have lived here since 1999, and I have been a Republican as long as I could be a Republican, except probably for just 2 or 3 years of my life.
Piech. I'm an Air Force veteran. I was born in Cook County, Illinois, and for the past 27.5 years I've moved around the country serving our country, and my wife and I own our home here in Santa Rosa County for the past 3 years. And I'm a lifelong Republican.
Good evening, Rob Williamson. I've lived here now with my wife of 19 years for 15 years here in Santa Rosa County. Lifelong Republican, and really looking forward to tonight. Did I miss anything?
All right, I'm going to give you a little softball. You already got the first half of the question. Have you always been a Republican, and why was the question? Have you always been a Republican, and why are you a Republican?
No, as I said earlier, just for 4 years. Coming from Kentucky and Indiana, which was a Democratic state, stayed a Democrat. Although I didn't vote Democrat, mainly I always voted Republican. And my father's been gone for 10 years, and I've always thought, you know, I didn't want my father to turn over in his grave. But I decided that, you know, I'm Catholic and I'm pro-life. So Republicans are pro-life.
I've been a Republican all my life. That's the way I was brought up. My father and mother were Republicans. Believed in hard work. Believed in less government. My father, I grew up in the grocery store that my dad run. 12 years old, I was running the cash register and stocking shelves. Raised my family, my boys the same way. And that's what it is. Less government, more hard work, more morals, more respect for each other. And I believe that's Republican.
Yes, I've been a Republican for as long as I could be a Republican. I ran in 2014 as NPA because I saw the parties kind of going in different directions, and that's why I felt in 2014. So most of my life I've been a Republican.
As I mentioned, I'm a lifelong Republican. I was raised conservative. I proudly served this country, protecting our inalienable rights, and I believe the Republican Party does the best job of protecting those rights, those God-given rights that we were given as Americans. And I'll remain a Republican until I can no longer stand on this earth.
Lifelong Republican. I was in the Young Republicans in college. I've campaigned with a lot of different Republicans running for office. I just think it's the best party. It's the party of Reagan. It's the party of personal responsibility. It's the party of no excuses. It's a party of fairness. It is. It feels like home to me, and I love the fact that it is a conservative, old-school way of living, and I like how they believe in personal responsibility and small business.
Thank you. The next question is, what makes you feel that you are the best candidate for Santa Rosa County for the position you are trying to achieve?
For the last 15 years, I've had the honor of serving you people. I should stand on that. I'm available. I've always been available. I'm conservative. Protect our environment. I listen. I think that's the biggest thing. I listen. I have an open door policy. You call me, I'm going to call you back. Thank you.
Yes, I believe I would be a great county commissioner. I would work for the people, do the right thing, and be honest. I also work to protect our environment. I fought for protection of our aquifers from Yellow River to Blackwater River as a private citizen, and I will fight for you as your commissioner.
Thank you. I'm trained as an engineer. My first bachelor's is in mechanical engineering. I have 2 master's degrees that the Air Force has given me. I'm a multiple-time squadron commander. I was a group commander in charge of running over 1,500 people in a $500 million construction program. I've planned, I've budgeted, I've built, I've maintained infrastructure, and I've worked with local governments to ensure that what we did on our installations meshed with the community. So I'm well versed in dealing with everything from the Chamber of Commerce to the city councils and county commissions. Thanks.
I have a calling to make things better and to try to improve anything that I'm a part of, and I love helping people and bringing about positive change. For more than 10 years in Santa Rosa County, I learned about the county. I served in a wide range of leadership roles throughout the county, and that's what I feel has prepared me for representing you. I've given you everything I have over the course of the last 4 years to try to bring about some progress and results that you said you'd wanted for quite some time, and that's why I'm asking for your support to run for another 4 years.
I'm a successful businesswoman. I've had, my husband and I've had a business for over 28 years. And I'm an active, open listener. I listen. I'm hardworking. I believe in an open door policy and transparency. And also, I believe in term limits. I'm thinking, there should be term limits so that there's not stagnant.
Okay, thank you. Next question, Wallis. What capital investment do you feel is most important for the future of Santa Rosa County?
Infrastructure. Without infrastructure, you can't provide for the businesses that are here now, and you cannot provide for increased capacity in the future. We are lagging behind greatly in infrastructure. Areas are flooding. In one neighborhood, a house actually slid off its foundation. So we need to find out what the problem is, how to fix it, and how to prepare for the future.
It's our infrastructure, folks. Our growth is far outpaced our infrastructure. And without our infrastructure, our roads, our storm drains, safe sidewalks, and the like, we can't get our kids to school safely. We can't get our families around the church safely. We need to invest in our infrastructure and make a good capital investment that goes along with our economic development plan that will bring all our plans together and help this county prosper. So infrastructure is our key.
And I've got some good news for you. We have been investing in infrastructure. That wasn't always the case. 4 years ago, we spent less than $500,000 on things like stormwater drainage countywide. This year, we'll invest $7 million. We are making progress. We're not where we want to be yet because we have lagged behind in investing in infrastructure for far too long. And we're all feeling the impacts of growth in our communities. It's got to be investing in infrastructure, but we have to continue what we're doing. We have been investing in infrastructure.
I do agree with that. We are moving, and I do see progress with our infrastructure, moving ahead, moving forward. But I also believe that with the infrastructure, we also need, we need the jobs. We need the economic development coming in. We need where it doesn't go out and drain outflow to the other surrounding counties.
Well, it's great to hear about infrastructure, roads, all the money we're spending nowadays on those roads. Your half-cent sales tax that you voted for, the gas tax, gives us the increase that we can do that. And you know, and I probably would agree with all those answers, and I do, but I just came from an FFA background, and I think the thing we got to invest in is our children, our future, because we can build the greatest roads and have the greatest infrastructure in the world. And if we don't get our children back to moral, getting together with everybody and working together like you see at FFA and other 4-H's, we don't need the infrastructure.
Okay, Mr. Piech. This one says, I have lived in Santa Rosa County all my life. The growth is stifling the infrastructure. Would you consider an impact fee on subdivisions to pay for bicycle lanes, Ward County roads? I believe that says Ward County roads. Why or why not?
We need to figure out how we can pay for that impact of the construction. And yes, I would look at some form of an impact fee, because I live in a neighborhood that dump trucks are up and down the road and they're chewing up our roads and they're chewing up our drainage. But that doesn't necessarily equate to money. If we could partner with these developers and go, if you could put sidewalks in, or if we could partner with you to get curbs and bike paths in, and work those impact fees, not just in money, because we know what happens to money when you get it. So yes, we need some sort of impact.
Twice now in 4 years, I've brought up the idea of bringing back a lower impact fee than we had previously. One that wouldn't be too penal or have the developers shoulder too much of the burden and restrict or harm small business, but would help continue to diversify our economy and to start paying for some of the infrastructure needs that we all see are necessary in the county. So yes, I think that it's something that we're going to get to, and soon we're going to end up with a decision of either more property taxes or impact fees. And I'm dead set against property taxes increases, so I would say impact fees.
The impact fees, if they were low enough, I have seen when the county has done the impact fees, the progression and the development has slowed down because of the high impact fees. But I'm for impact fees if, you know, they were low enough to, you know, to help with the issues of our drainage.
I'm going to agree again with impact fees until this board decides that I can agree with me on putting some of the growth money away. You take a lot that's paying $100 in taxes and put a home on it that's bringing in $2,000 worth of taxes. I've asked the board on several occasions, the county administrator, put some of that money aside for infrastructure and growth. If we could start doing that, we could bond those dollars on growth and get some things done. Home builders pay their fair share as it is. It gets passed on to the home buyer. We can't do it that way. We got to think both ways.
Yes, I would consider bringing back the impact fees. It wouldn't have to be monumental. We used to have impact fees, and when they were stopped, the answer was they increased fees on permits for the individuals who were building. And I don't think that can equal what an across the board impact fee could do for us. Some states make builders even build a school if it's going to be a large development. So we need to go into the future and work for you.
All right, wake up over here. Okay. With let's see, with a budget over $150 million, Mr. Williamson, do you feel you have the ability to help manage such a large entity? And if so, what can you do
Great question. Within 6 months of taking the oath of office, our retiring longtime county administrator recommended a 6.5% property tax increase. And it came to me as the budget chair. I remember Commissioner Cole asking me, whatever solutions you want to put forward, Rob, we'll support them. And I had to find $2.8 million worth of savings, and I put forward recommendations that resulted in us not raising taxes. And we have won the Distinguished Budget Award in Santa Rosa County for the first time in our history. We start our budget process earlier, it's more transparent and open, and we're out of time.
I think it takes a team. It's going to take all five to work together to work the budget. And that's the only way for it to work, is for everyone to do it together. I have not been a commissioner before, so I know that working on my own budget in my own company, I had to do it for 28 years.
Thank you. The last 15 years, as I said, we've been working on budgets. The very first time I was in office, there was a question about raising property taxes. I voted against it. We have not in 15 years raised the property tax. We've leveraged BP money. We've leveraged the gas tax. We've leveraged the sales tax that we were so kind as to provide us with. Making those things count is what's important for the board. And a board works together as five people. I can't do it myself. We have to work together to get those things done.
Yes, I want to take a look at the budget and try to see a way to increase economic development, to help local businesses create more business, maybe bring in some larger companies with an influx of population that would also contribute to the tax base. You have to look at every line item. I understand that, but I think it can be done, and we can make our budget more people-friendly for.
I've managed budgets my entire career, and it takes a team. No one person controls the budget. And with the great department heads we have here, and with the programs we could work together, our new county administrator in the budget department, I would take the lead of our constitutional officers who are constantly saving manpower and dollars by innovation and embracing technology. So if you haven't looked, please look at the example our constitutional officers set, and that's what we need to do within the county as well.
Thank you. Ms. Brown. What can we do to encourage more private commercial development in central Santa Rosa County and especially in Milton?
What we can do is, we've had the economic report that has come out. We can show them, we can inform them about our great schools that we have here in Santa Rosa County. We can tell them about our tourism that we have throughout the whole county, not just at the south end. We have at the north end. We've got the lakes, we've got the mills. We try to entice companies in to show them what we have to offer besides just the.
We used to not put any emphasis on the local business, the small guy, the people who wanted to come here. We concentrated on industry. We changed that. We now concentrate on industry and also on local, trying to help the entrepreneur move forward, move ahead. But one of those things we got to do is lax up on our building codes and some of our ordinances, because I've heard from too many people it's too darn hard to build something in Santa Rosa County and get it off the ground. As a business owner, you are bleeding money until you get customers coming in the door.
I would say we have to get the word out about everything we have here in Santa Rosa County. The schools, we have marine opportunities, we have access to rail, we have access to the Port of Pensacola. So we have a lot of great advantages here in the county. We have farming, we have silviculture, we have a beautiful river. So we need to get those ideas out and bring more people in.
We just paid $125 development strategic plan? The answers are in there. But what we can do through leadership is I've gone around talking with small business owners and business owners is I asked them, would you do it again? No, the process is difficult and hard and I wouldn't do it again. So leadership needs to work with the folks to get out there and make it easier. We should embrace small business and business to come to Central Santa Rosa County. But read the economic development plan. We just paid good money for it and it's there. We just got to act.
As a small business owner for 13 of the 15 years that I've lived in Santa Rosa County, I can agree that it is difficult, the decisions you have to make to be a successful small business. I've made those decisions. I also worked with our Navarre water system to reduce tap fees by 50% to encourage business to come in. We've got to continue strengthening small business in our county. But mainly, you have to improve your quality of place. We need to do it through attraction, not promotion, by making sure that we are providing a business-friendly county, the most business-friendly county in the state of Florida, to where laptop entrepreneurs and business creators of tomorrow would want to come here first.
Oops, stepping on my cord there. All right, Mr. Cole, more than half the land in the county is public land. Do you intend to take more private property? And the second piece to this is, do you intend to try to take back any public land to get it back into private property?
I don't understand if you're mean Blackwater and Egland, or do you mean the land that we put into protection?
I would take that as what's on the tax rolls and what isn't. What's owned by the county.
If we're talking about county government property in its entirety, anything we can do to protect Whiting Field, I'm for it. But if we own it, we don't need it, we need to sell it. I'm for, we can get out of the Fisher Hamilton building, we get out of the probation building, put them on the tax rolls. Any piece of property we don't need, and I'm done taking sealed bids and giving it away for a low bidder. Let's put it on the market and fair market value.
Yes, I would say any property we do not need, sell it and get the funds for it. Maybe somebody will buy it and create a business, and then you're going to have some revenue coming in there. So yes, just to have wasted land sitting there is not a good idea.
I concur. Any excess land we have, we should put it out there on the market. But any land we have that's conservation rec land, that's been set aside for a number of years, we also need to preserve those green spaces because that's part of the quality of life that corporations and businesses and people look for to move to an area. You just can't develop all the land you have. We have about 39% in conservation right now, and I believe we need to look at that hard because we are growing fast and we're impacting our wetlands and we're causing infrastructure issues.
One of the first things I did after getting sworn in is I asked for all the county-owned property in District 4 to see what would be marketable, and that really surprised me that the amount of property that we had, and now we have a county-owned property report to where we do have property that we need to, I feel, dispose of. We need to sell it, and we need to put that money to work. And I just don't see that there's any need to continue buying more property. We have all we need now.
I concur with the others. The land that the county does not need or use, put back on the tax roll so that we have revenue coming in. In the land that is protected, the Whiting Field, the industrial areas, we need to get buildings in there. We need to get people and company and businesses into these places and land that is sitting vacant.
All right, this one ought to be a good one. Mr. Cole, what is your... Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Wallis.
It's still going to be a good one?
It's going to be even better. I'll sit down. All right, Wallis, what is your position on the four-laning through Milton?
I've seen that. I've seen the little diagram of four-lane from the bridge to Stewart Street, and it doesn't really look that bad. I think that we have a lot with a boardwalk where you could still create quite, an adventurous place and a unique place. You could go under the street to get people, to mingle on both sides. So I don't think it would be that much of a hindrance. It may be a good thing, something different.
I think the people of Milton get a vote, but 4-lane is only going to create more traffic and more volume. As we watch semis and trucks and all that traverse through downtown Milton, they're still going to come if you have 4 lanes. There's things we could do immediately to help the traffic. They're studying the 4-lane right now. I think the real answer is an 87 bypass that takes the waiting field and the truck traffic out of our downtowns and away from our kids and our families as we're downtown. So I'm in favor of a bypass.
I think the bypass would take about 17% of the commuting traffic through the middle of downtown currently. I'm very concerned about what's happening in Milton with multi-generational poverty and addiction and increase in violent crime, and I really hope that they get focused on what's important there, like priorities, solutions for downtown. We need commercial development, we need capital development in Milton, and the 4-lane may be the best way to get there.
I would like to see a bypass going to the northern part down Berry Hill and keep the traffic out of downtown Milton. And the DOT is going to do what they're going to do, and it's not going to be, it's going to be another 10 years before anything happens. So we need to actually take care of some of the issues now as far as the traffic goes. Things will change in 10 years by the time that they get around to doing a 4-lane through downtown. I think 4 lanes.
The bypass has been something I've been an advocate for as long as I can remember now. Why? I think going 4-laning just through downtown is selling us short. Agreeing to that is selling us short. We need that bypass from 87 North to 87 South. We also need some safety management improvements on 90. Let's face it, if we go 4-lane through downtown, then the next corridor to get to the interstate is Baghdad. We go 4-lane through Baghdad. So we really need to look at it. The state owes us more than just short answers.
You're standing on the board again. Mr. Piech, what can you do to make Santa Rosa County better for the people?
I think we get the people involved because we're the employees, you're all the employers. So we're going to act upon your voice. And I'd like to see the community get more involved with the plans that we're presenting, get more responsiveness from leadership, and be included and have buy-in. Because once you have the community's buy-in, everybody starts pulling on that rope in one direction. And disagreement's going to happen, but civil disagreement with a good talk-through is a lot better than building walls and ignoring each other. So it's about bringing the community together.
It's a great question. I thought that the most important thing that we needed to do coming in was increase the communication between local government and its citizens. And I started an annual countywide listening tour, and I've had almost 40 town hall style events around the county during my time in office. We now have district-specific Facebook pages. I have done regular video updates since I was elected, trying to find new and creative ways to connect with you, even though sometimes it puts a target on your back when you do that.
To make, Santa Rosa County, better for people is communication, open communication with everybody, listening, having a good open listening ear. We're not always going to have the same ideas. We're not always going to believe the same thing. But work together, to come together as a team and move forward in the right direction.
Well, communicating, keeping an open door policy. When you get a phone call, when you get your vehicle, when you go see what the problem is, these are all things I've been doing for the last 15 years. It's disappointing, though, to be at a county commissioner meeting and not have a third of the crowd that's here today. I've told people for years, unless I'm in your backyard or your back pocket, you don't really pay attention to what's going on. We need that input. As a board of commissioners, we're working for you, and we need that input, whether it's a text message, an email, a phone call, or be at a meeting. We need your input. Thank you.
I would say the biggest plus would be pay attention. Get out and talk to the people every now and then. Find out what they need, find out what they want. A lot of people can't make the meetings at night anymore and have some meetings in the evening, especially on high priority items. And work for the people, do the right thing, and be honest.
All right. Mr. Williamson, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to the first one from all of you, but I'm going to ask anyway. It's a two-part. Do you think we have enough taxes, number one, and number two, do you intend to end any of those taxes?
Well, I don't think there's, I don't think we're going to be raising, I'm not going to be voting to raise taxes anytime soon. So I think that the way to create opportunity is to try to get government out of the way, and that's certainly a way to do it. During the 4 years I've been in office, I've looked for ways to keep us from raising taxes and look for other ways to diversify our revenue and our economy. And I don't remember the second part. I don't know if there's any of them that we can eliminate.
No, to raising any taxes. We're taxed as a county enough. We are below, as far as taxes, as below Escambia County. But our tax dollars are going for great things, for schools, roads, infrastructure. And as far as lowering taxes, maybe if we get enough businesses in here, enough companies in here where tax dollars can be spent in our county, maybe there will be a way to lower some of the taxes.
I'm not going to lie to you, I think we should raise taxes. We should raise the other half cent on the 1 cent sales tax, because if you've been paying attention to what all it's accomplished, the board's done a pretty good job. The sheriff's done an outstanding job. Have lower taxes? Absolutely not. I think everybody should pay their fair share. Our visitors, people that pass through, people that stay here, pay that sales tax and help us with our infrastructure, help us with our growth. So we can keep our ad valorem down. And as we grow and do smart growth and see new subdivisions come online, that influx, as I said earlier, we need to bankroll some of that money. We don't need to add everything that tax brings into the coffers. Percentage of that needs set aside. And I'm going to continue trying to work for that.
I think we have enough taxes here in Santa Rosa County. It is true that the lost provides some greatly needed money, but you voted for that. You said yes, we will do that. You can tax us. That was your decision. And if there were any way to end taxes, I would say create some economic development. You need those drivers. You need a robust economy here in Santa Rosa County, and we have the factors that we can do that with.
Read my lips. No new no new taxes. We leak $100 million in retail outside our county. It goes to Wallis, Okaloosa, Escambia. We lose 22,000 people out of the county to go outside the county and work. Now that's understandable with the bases where they are, a lot working there. But imagine if we stimulate our economic development like the plan we just paid for tells us, and we keep those folks here, and we get OPM, other people's money, from Escambia and Okaloosa to come here and spend their dollars. We don't need new taxes.
Okay. By the way, my question pool is getting a little shallow up here. If anybody has anything, I'd be happy to take them. We doing okay, Chuck?
Yeah, you will.
Okay. I got a couple more. All right. Pace has grown 171% in the last 10 years. I didn't realize that. Number one, is that fast enough? And two, how much growth is enough? And I believe we're back to Ms. Brown.
Did you say 170?
171%.
170. Oh,
That's the
okay.
U.S. Census. That's
Okay.
the census.
I was reading about that earlier, and it was like 2013, 2014 said that pace had grown 170%. And I think that's too fast. I think it's too fast for the county. I think that we need to get some of that growth out to East Milton, where there is plenty of area to get businesses out in the East Milton area.
I'd love to see some growth come to East Milton. I've been out there, as I said, 46 years with my wife. Don't understand it. I mean, it's beautiful out there. You don't know what you're missing, kind of thing. But, you know, minutes from the interstate, minutes from anywhere. But it's all up to the individual. It's all up to the business owner. It's all about demographics. I mean, we can't make somebody build a business in East Milton. We can't make you move to East Milton. So we've got to continue as a board to continue to build the available product that's out there. And that's plenty of land.
That is way too fast. Too much, too quick, without the infrastructure. If you don't bring back something like maybe an across-the-board impact fee to help with that situation, you're in trouble. We're already in trouble. I've seen it coming for 10 years. Flooding all over the place. No infrastructure. What is happening? I want to find out what is happening. I think I know, and I'd like to correct it.
It's too fast, and we can't keep up with the infrastructure. Those generational families that have moved away and come back to Pace, I've been out talking with them in businesses, and they're concerned about their roads and their infrastructure and the flooding, like most of the county is. So yes, that's too fast. We can't grow our public works fast enough to keep up with all the new roads and storm drains we're taking on from all these developments. So we need to keep growth. Growth is good, but smart, sensible growth is better. And we need to have a plan to keep up with that growth before we just plunk down 300 homes and then try and figure it out later.
We need to keep improving growth management and keep improving our infrastructure. 4 years ago, when I came into office in the county, we had no planning elements really to speak of. Now, for the first time ever, we have a strategic plan in place for economic development. We have a strategic plan in place for tourism. But we're all feeling the impacts of growth. The key is making sure that we are now providing for the infrastructure that goes along with the growth. Because for far too long, we've waited.
Thank you. All right, this one's coming from me, so this is going to be a hard one. What's your opinion on offering financial incentives to bring businesses to the county?
We already are doing that in certain ways by curtailing some of the taxation. One of my thoughts are that if somebody comes here, we got pretty restrictive holding laws. If they're willing to save a tree or work around that, we can reduce that. We're limited to what kind of tax breaks we can give when somebody's put it in, but we need to get more smarter on that and how we can do it. And that study that was mentioned earlier is some ways to do that.
I would say it depends on what that incentive would be. We really would have to look at the situation, see what kind of companies coming in for a call center who's going to stay for 2 years. No, I don't think so. You have to take a look at the business and what it will bring for us. That is the way I would look at it. So
it's not just financial incentives that businesses look for. Number 5 on your list is quality of life. So sit on Highway 90 or sit on Highway 98 or have your backyard flood and tell me how your quality of life is if you come work for a company here. So it's more than the financial incentives. I think we can incentivize businesses to come here by improving our infrastructure and having what they need. We have it here in our industrial parks. Down south, they need professional office buildings because they don't have access to the rail and interstate. So it's diverse across the county. It's more than finances.
I'm not in favor of incentives where you front load the cash before you provided any jobs or any capital investment. If you deliver on what you promised, then incentives would be a possibility. Santa Rosa County is attractive enough, but we have to do things to make us more marketable. That's why the I-10 Industrial Park, when I first came into office, I fulfilled a campaign promise and I asked that we go after infrastructure improvements for that park. That we probably paid too much for. We got $1 million from the state. The infrastructure improvements have made that park more marketable.
Financial incentives, no, because I think if you've got companies come in and you've paid them given them financial discounts and credits, and these companies come in and they set up and they cannot fulfill what you want them to as far as employment, how many jobs they can produce for you, and then they leave, but they've already benefited from your financial incentives that you've given them, and they're gone. They've gone to another state to set up shop somewhere else. Smarter incentives, yes, but not financial.
All right, I think we are. Anybody got any more questions? Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm screening them. There's some up here that are very personal and are attacks on some of these people that I'm not going to ask them.
Well, the ones I did is no attacks. I personally just recently moved here, so I would like to know some of these questions. And you're not presenting them.
I presented
No, shame on you. Like I
15
said,
of them.
I've been a Republican all my life and belong to a Republican club. I gave you 6 questions. You only did 2 of my questions. The rest you put aside because they were too important and maybe more people might want to understand. And me, not knowing any of these people, like to know the questions.
Thank you very much.
Oh, see, that's it. Thank you very much. In other words, shut your mouth.
I'm Andrew McKay, host of the Pensacola Morning News on News Radio 1620. And one question is the referendum issue that may increase the homestead exemption. If it passes, and it's likely to pass, it's going to put a huge budget hole in Santa Rosa County's budget. What's your plan to adapt to that?
Who was first?
This is going to be Wallis.
Again, I think we have to go back to economic development. We have a great county. We have so much to offer. We need to create jobs. We need to support the businesses that are here. I think if we can increase economic development, it can help with some of those problems.
I believe it's going to cause about a $2 or $3 million, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but quote me on that. Shortfall. I've dealt with $2-3 million shortfalls before. First thing you do is tighten your belt, and you look hard from within. And then, if you've got your plans in place and your economic development is growing, that tax base is going to come. So, we all like to take a good scrub every once in a while and look at our budgets. You got to do that every once in a while when you're put in the corner. That's the first answer. You don't go right to raising taxes or asking the people for more. You look within first, and then you go out and find solutions the community can afford.
It's a little more than $4 million would be the estimated hole that we'd experience if it passes, and I think you don't wait until it's in front of you. You go ahead and start planning for it ahead of time. I've recommended to the county administrator that we go with a 3-year phased approach where we use a portion of reserves while we grow our way out of it, so we do not raise property taxes because we don't need to. That's why I've been asking to develop a reserve policy in Santa Rosa County since the first year in office. That way we would know what we have left over to put to work so we can put money to work to improve infrastructure, investment, and other things. And we finally got that reserve policy now, and it resulted in us building a new courthouse without having to raise taxes for that either.
I like that idea of what Mr. Williamson said, trying to set money aside for reserves, knowing that this is probably going to pass, and then it still goes down to the economic development of getting more businesses in here, better paying businesses in here for the people, so that we generate more revenue and get the people involved also in helping come up with solutions and ideas, and not wait till the last minute.
I think 4 million is a little estimated. It's more around the $3 million price, but regardless of what it is, who out there is not going to vote for a tax break on their homestead exemption? I will. So let's get ready for it. That's why when I first heard about this, I knew it was going to pass. I asked the county administrator, I asked Jane Bell, and I asked Commissioner Winter to be my budget chair this year. Please start rolling back so we can cut. We don't need to hit with a $3 million loss all in 1 year. Let's start working on it, just like you and I would do. As we get ready to retire,